Welcome to Mr. Dowler's PechaKucha. I am going to be presenting about the greatest television show in the history of TV, The X-Files. It was a science fiction series that premiered in September of 1993 that quite literally changed the way TV was made forever. In the pilot episode, we meet our intrepid agents. There is Agent Fox Mulder, who is an FBI agent motivated by his belief that his sister was abducted by aliens as a child. He is paired with Agent Dana Scully, an agent with a strong science background who is a medical doctor who's assigned to debunk his work. Mulder soon meets an informant by the name of Deep Throat, who is one of the first of a series of informants that would give him additional information and lead him on his quest, sometimes in the directions he wants to go, sometimes deliberately misleading him, because he is embedded in the throes of a government conspiracy. By the end of the first season, Agent Dana Scully was starting to believe herself after encountering actually what appeared to be the remains of an alien fetus in the Erlenmeyer flask, the season 1 finale. This was the first step towards making her more than just a partner and actually emotionally involved in the quest. She gets more emotionally involved when she is the sole witness to the assassination of Mulder's informant, Deep Throat, who gives some dying words, "Trust no one," which became one of the many mantras of the series, along with the better known, "I want to believe." In season 2, the government tried to break them up by having Mulder and Scully reassigned to different departments. Mulder's new partner, Alex Krycek, seemed to be fresh out of the academy and a promising young agent. We didn't realize he was secretly working with the conspiracy and led to Scully's abduction and return. By the end of season 2, Mulder and Scully are working together again, but there is more strife as the cigarette-smoking man, the shadowy man who has been manipulating things, tries to end the threat once and for all, but is unable to do so, and tries to assassinate Mulder while he is buried underground in a train car. When we get to season 3, they start experimenting with the formula in their incredibly popular show. We start having comedic episodes, including Clyde Brookman's Final Repos, in which Peter Boyle won an Emmy as a psychic who can see how people die, and that is it, which led to a rather bleak outlook because he knew how and when he would die himself. This continues into War of the Coprophages, which makes numerous references to War of the Worlds, as coprophages, or dung eaters, in the form of cockroaches, are taking over Grover's Mill, a reference to War of the Worlds, Miller's Grove. In season 4, we learn that Scully herself has had some issues. She actually has been embedded with cancer as a direct result of the experimentation that has been done to her. So her quest is now far more personal than it has ever been before. After season 4, we get into season 5, where we deal with these aliens, now faceless aliens, who have been coming through, and there are multiple factions, some of whom are just trying to exterminate anyone who is working with or for the originals. This is the first sign that the aliens who are working towards to invade Earth are not what they seem. Following that show's rising popularity, it actually was one of the few successful shows to make it to the big screen during its run in a theatrical film released between seasons 5 and 6. This managed to fight the future with $98 million at the box office. In season 6, we end up with the lone gunman being a little more integral. These are 3 people who have aided Mulder and Scully in their quest. They are conspiracy nuts who print a newspaper that they claim is the truth. They start getting integrated as David Duchovny is pulling back a little bit. He pulls back more as we get to season 7 and reveals that he has actually been in court with Fox for underreporting overseas income. It turns out that he had not been given all of the residuals he was due for overseas markets, and required a lawsuit to do it, and did not renew his contract for season 8. The character Mulder was replaced by Robert Patrick playing John Doggett. This is Scully's new partner. At this point, Scully is a believer in the supernatural and paranormal that they've seen, or at least that some things can be easily explained, while Robert Patrick's character is absolutely not. As we move into Season 8, the Lone Gunmen get their own spin off, which lasts for 13 episodes, hurt in part by an episode about a terrorist planned attack to crash a plane into the World Trade Center, which took place in May of 2001, and then this actually happened in September. That killed any chance for renewal. Season 9 continues with Agent Reyes being assigned to the X-Files, taking over most of Scully's work as Gillian Anderson reduces her own workload as she is dealing with a real-life pregnancy. And this ultimately ended the first run of the show, but the series wouldn't die. It came back with a movie, I Want to Believe, where the characters had aged somewhat, and David Duchovny came back as Mulder. Unfortunately, even though it only had a $30 million budget, it only made $10 million because it came out the week after The Dark Knight, with the now dead Heath Ledger, which crushed everything for weeks. It then came back again following that movie in the Event series, a 6-episode miniseries which included one guest star who would dress as Kolchak the Night Stalker, not deliberately, but in an homage to the 1970s supernatural detective series, which inspired the X-Files in the first place. It then continued into Season 11. At this point, Mulder and Scully have a happily ever after, as they end up romantically involved and parents of a child named William, who is finally back in their custody, satisfying many fans, but not all of us. This is only some of the elements that made this the greatest sci-fi series of all time.